Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining NeuraFlash's and Salesforce webinar, Power Digital Service Experiences with Salesforce Service Cloud Voice, Einstein Bots, and Digital Channels. My name is Michaela McCarthy. I'm the event marketing lead here at NeuraFlash. I'm really excited for you to be joining us today for this amazing session. We got some awesome speakers who are here to talk about how you can bring your contact centers and service channels into the 21st century with Service Cloud Voice and bots. Let me quickly go over some housekeeping rules. After this webinar, we'll be sending the recording out to you all for your convenience. On the Zoom platform, to submit your questions, you'll see beneath the screen a bar pull up. In this bar, please click the Q&A button to submit questions anytime throughout the webinar. We'll have a 10-minute Q&A at the end for anyone to answer questions.
Awesome. And Randy, if you can click through the slides here. I think we've got the housekeeping items there. And then I want to give a quick welcome and a thank you to everyone. My name's Travis Smith. I'm a Regional Vice President at Salesforce. And again, want to thank you for your time today. We're excited to share some great content with you, as well as have a great dialogue along the way. You're going to hear from NeuraFlash today. They are a fantastic partner of ours, and they really specialize when it comes to powering digital service experiences. And they're also a launch partner of ours for Service Cloud Voice. And you're also going to hear from Elise right now as well, but we are excited for this conversation today. So Elise, I'll kick it over to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Travis. Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Elise Orsborn, and I'm an RVP for Service Cloud on the East Coast. Really excited about the content today. I know our businesses have been speaking about digital transformation for years. And, at the beginning of COVID, it was really about how to drive digital channels. Today, I'm excited to hear more from NeuraFlash on how you can take these digital channels, but also complement them with our newest product, which is Service Cloud Voice. And we're seeing that, the phone is still very, very important, and the power of complementing these tools together to really drive agent productivity. So I'm excited to hear from NeuraFlash, one of our strongest partners in this area, to talk to us and showcase what this can actually look for you all. So thank you again, and I'll hand it over to Randy.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Travis and Elise. So Randy Sari, Senior Account Executive, focused on mid-market East Coast for NeuraFlash. And yeah, to shadow them, excited to talk to you guys about moving to an intelligent digital contact center. And we'll provide you guys a look and feel into the solution and what results can be achieved by enabling these channels and access to this data. So going over what we plan on covering, we're going to give you a little background on NeuraFlash, our company, as a platinum consulting partner of Salesforce. Then we're going to discuss current state of the industry and the environment that we're all aware of. Then we'll have Eric walk you through a demo and give you the look and feel into this amazing product of digital engagement and Service Cloud Voice. After, we'll discuss some, we call them myth busters, but common assumptions that companies have to provide you guys an understanding that this really isn't a big lift. And we have a specific customer example to back that. And finally, we'll wrap with how do you get started and Q&A. So in regards to who we are at NeuraFlash, so we're a platinum consulting partner of Salesforce and an ISV focused on customer outcomes. Right, so we have a deep expertise in service transformations, stemming all the way back to our inception, where 50% of our company started at Nuance or companies like Nuance, essentially implementing and advising on telephony solutions, systems like Avaya, Genesys, and since then have been focused on bringing this telephony experience to Salesforce. So in regards to one of the solutions, we're going to see digital channels and digital engagement. Our CEO and COO actually ran product for Haywire, which is a company that was acquired by Salesforce and is now the base product for the Salesforce SMS messaging engine. On top of that, the products and the solutions that we focus on, some you'll see today with Service Cloud Voice, digital engagement, and digital channels, Einstein Bots, but then also more products like field service and community portals, which we're happy to discuss at a later date. All of which, however, are being the result of this change in our environment and dramatically changing. right? So in regards to our environment, no one here is a shock and aware of what's going on. I imagine most of us are probably calling in from home, and there's no doubt that we need technology to support a mobile workforce. On top of that, customer expectations aren't slowing down. They're actually wanting more customer engagements. You guys are calling into this webinar because you have some interest, if not a ton of experience in contact centers, right? Like you probably heard the conversation, customer's best service experience is the new expected experience. I mean, that's relevant more than ever. We all want to be met with an immediate response on a channel of our choosing with a personal touch. So we're here to say, however, we've never had this much processing power for the price available in the cloud. We can leverage the technology we're going to show to make it easier to meet these customer expectations. And you don't have to be a Fortune 500 company to provide this intelligent call center, as we call it. And what is this intelligent contact center that we're talking about? So we really look at it as three key pillars, right? So the first one, automation. So how we automate simple tasks without employee interactions. Ultimately, this leads to higher customer satisfaction, as well as happier employees, because I'm using my brain as a call center agent to actually solve complex inquiries and not sending a password reset for the 1,000th time. The next pillar is personalization. So ensuring you aren't giving canned responses, but actually helping solve customer problems. This could be an example of me flying home this weekend and calling up my airline provider and having to listen to the 12 IVR options. Why can't it meet me with, are you calling about said flight in access to that case? So then ultimately I don't have to listen to that and I can get on with my day quicker and have a better customer experience. Lastly, analytics. And notice we're not saying reporting, we're saying analytics, which are key to ensure that you are delivering outcomes and letting data guide your decisions in decision-making process. And you need a system that can provide full insight and understand these KPIs. And what we're going to show you is revolutionary in that standpoint. So regarding solutions that are going to power this intelligent contact center, we're going to be talking about two main solutions. First, Einstein bots, so chat and messaging. And then the second is Service Cloud Voice and voice bot that is built on top of the Service Cloud Voice platform. Ultimately, leading us to why. Why does all this matter? Maybe our contact center is doing fine, but we're seeing amazing results from successfully deploying these products and training contact centers and then meeting back up with our customers and optimizing these contact centers. We're seeing improvements in customer service. We're seeing improvements in agent performance and overall just a better user experience. So to actually understand this, let's dive in, jump in and see what this looks like from a customer and employee experience. Eric, if you can tee up the demo for him.
Great, thank you, Randy. And thank you for everyone's time today for the webinar. We wanted to start to encapsulate and show an entire feature set across a custom demo here. So what we're going to show is some of the customer journey, starting off with Service Cloud Voice, and then move more into some of that Einstein bot and digital channel type journey that Randy was also outlining as well. So here on my screen, we're actually going to go ahead and place a call as a customer to a company called NeuraFlash Technologies. It's going to be our make-believe network solution company. And you'll see here as a customer, we immediately will have an experience that will personalize, predict, and also be proactive around some of those case management workflows that we have built out, and then also provide the customer with a level of self-service and process automation as well. So I'm going to go ahead and give the NeuraFlash Tech support number a call, and we're going to listen in to see exactly how we build that experience using Service Cloud Voice.
Hi there, Eric. Thanks for contacting NeuraFlash Technologies and being a loyal customer. I see you've recently purchased our latest gigabit routers and switches. Is this why you're calling in today?
Yes, we're currently unable to connect any devices.
So sorry to hear that. On your main network server, are there any indicator lights flashing in green?
No, there aren't.
And can you confirm power is getting to each of the switches? Each switch should be in green in the mobile diagnostics application.
No, there's a few switches that are in red.
For routers that are not receiving power, please power cycle them. You can do this by shutting off the router, waiting 10 seconds, and turning it back on. Were you able to solve the issue?
Yes, that worked.
Great. What else can I help you with today?
I'd like to ask an expert a few questions about the setup guide.
Setup guides are best reviewed with a member of our technical support team. Let me get you over to an engineer who can help. Thank you for calling. Your call is very important to us and will be answered in the order it was received.
And then from here, so you saw that customer journey and that experience as they called into that customer support line. And then from here, the bot is actually able to provide some level of self-service, drive some of that case deflection, and then where and when we need to, we can actually pass the conversation in this voice call record in real time to the next available agent here. So as I set myself available on Omnichannel, you're going to notice that we can route this specific voice call record to the agent that has the right skills and availability to actually handle this specific inquiry here. And now if your team is currently leveraging Omnichannel today, you'll notice as well that you can actually route the voice call record in real time, just as we do with other digital channels. So as your team may be using email to case or web to case, Salesforce chat, or perhaps some of the messaging channels like SMS, we can also now natively route a voice call record with Omnichannel, which is extremely powerful. As I mentioned, we can start establishing the right cues and skills for agents, but also actually for the first time with Salesforce, have a true blended agent that can operate across multiple channels here. So from the agent perspective, the first thing you'll notice is we have the call controls embedded right within Omnichannel, where we can control if we mute ourselves, end the call, place the customer on hold, perhaps transfer the call if needed. But we have, again, natively the ability to have these widgets, not only in the Omnichannel feature here, but also embedded throughout the Service Cloud console as well. So you can see here, we can control that call experience and any of the activities that we need to leverage as we manage the case with the customer here. You'll also notice as we pop this call here, if you're leveraging any other telephony platforms with Salesforce, undoubtedly you'll have that kind of lack of native capabilities with the objects in Salesforce. And so now for the first time, we have this voice call object that allows us to actually track and have a clean data model specifically for a voice call. So you'll see here, these are some of the basic fields that voice call records have. So we can start identifying caller numbers, start and end times. We'll see later on how we build some basic analytics around some of the data here. But what this initially does is it gives us the capability to also screen pop and drive a specific workflow or case management process across the organization. So you'll see here on the left side, we've perhaps performed a lookup based on that number and popped the contact information for this customer. So we know exactly who we're speaking to right when the call gets routed. And we've also triggered an initial case management process as well. So you'll see here on the right side, we've actually got ahead and automatically created a case and perhaps even pre-filled some of that case with some of the information that VoiceBot has collected prior to escalation, and also giving this agent a head start on actually how to handle this case here. But notice how fluid and intuitive this experience is from a customer perspective. Instead of kind of having to kind of toggle between different screens to be able to manage just that interaction, we're consolidating that process and using that case object and that voice call record to be driving that process and governance across as well. Notice as I'm speaking in real time as the agent, this is one of the most powerful features around voice to text transcription that happens in real time. So this not only tracks exactly what the agent and the customer are saying back and forth on the call, It also provides the agent with that initial conversation between the voice bot or that IVR and the customer, really enabling that we provide enough context to the agent to be able to provide the best support possible. And what it also enables us to do is we can also have a clear record of this transcription and store it based on that contact or that voice call or that case. And now we have a clear indication of exactly what that conversation entailed of. So as a supervisor, which we'll take a look at in a second, instead of imagining kind of going through listening to recordings of previous cases, we can go ahead, leverage that data that we have specifically in text and kind of have a quick summary view to really expedite their process there. So for some of the common issues that we have here, again, we chose more of a high-tech company that might be have some more complex issues here. You may have an associate that's relatively unfamiliar with every single process that they might need to go through to perhaps troubleshoot a product. And you'll see here we can start leveraging that real-time voice-to-text transcription to drive next best action type workflows. So you'll see here we're able to identify based on what the customer's been asking for that they need help with perhaps a router update process. And once we accept this, we get even further into providing that agent enough context and data to really drive the average handle time and efficiency of their workflow. So you'll see we can start being prescriptive around a call script, and you'll see we can drive some of the personalization and the themes. We often know working with contact centers, there needs to be a certain language or methodology across how we ask questions, how we greet customers, so we can use that to drive the conversation. And then we can also couple that and also start to collect information that we need to actually go about any kind of process automation. So you'll see we know the customer's looking for questions or some help around setup guides. It could be more specific questions. So we know it's usually about product specifications, maybe an update procedure or perhaps something else. And we can use this to guide that conversation, have some dynamic responses based on our inputs, and then use that again to kind of drive the call scripts and additional automation from a workflow perspective. You'll see here we can even start to be transactional across these next best action workflows. So in this case, because the customer is inquiring about updates, we determine the best step is to perhaps subscribe them to some alerts. And we can actually take action on that right within this flow here. So we can subscribe them to email, opt them in for perhaps SMS notifications. But you'll see here we can consolidate that workflow, tackle multiple pieces of that at once, not only by providing the scripts, but again, also providing that specific standard or process that the support team needs to adhere to as well. And one of the other features that we wanted to highlight was here at NeuraFlash, we have a product team that also builds additional products and assets to really enhance the experience here. One of the actual features I did want to demonstrate as well was how we leverage something like sentiment analysis in real time. So let me go ahead. I'm going to mute myself as the agent and speak on the customer side. And you're going to hear perhaps a customer providing positive feedback and see what that triggers, and perhaps negative feedback as well. We are having a great experience with your routers. So you'll see there we had that input tracked in real time for voice to text transcription. Here's actually a quick sentiment analysis that we've conducted across, so we can actually see and track this throughout the conversations and cases, how effective or what this conversation looks like from a customer perspective. Let me show you perhaps if we provide some negative feedback, what that looks like as well. I'm a bit frustrated with the router setup guides though. And you'll see here, we again kind of update that sentiment model. Again, this could be used for analytics that we'll show in a little bit, but it provides the agent in real time an indication of exactly perhaps the temperament of the customer, even prior to escalation. So if they're exhibiting any kind of frustration or poor experience initially with that bot, we can provide that context to the agent, drive some routing rules if needed. So if we understand it's a high profile customer exhibiting frustration, that can also build some of the routing rules within Omnichannel to perhaps route them to a tier 2 or perhaps a tier 3 support line as well. And then also you'll notice from an efficiency standpoint, we also can start to drive an automated search through knowledge based on exactly what the customer is asking for. So the next use case we wanted to start demoing as well was how customers may interact on digital channels. So we'll follow a similar kind of storyline here with the same customer. So perhaps they've received the service they need on that initial phone call. They continue installing the routers throughout their facilities, and then they actually realize they need some additional support. And in this case, perhaps they're in an environment where it's best suited for them to access digital channels, perhaps on a desktop. You'll see here, this is a sample of a Salesforce community where lots of our customers identify as destinations to actually enable digital channels on. And as the customer, you'll see here, there's a call to action or a quick button to actually engage in chat. And you'll see here, once we start initiating chat, we can again customize the initial conversation and personalize it based on the information we know about this customer. So similarly to as you heard with the voice bot and that experience there, we can also drive the same kind of personalization across by identifying the customer and then also try to be proactive around service. So we heard the voice bot say, I saw you purchase some routers. Do you have any questions about it? In this case, we know perhaps based on their activities on a community or on a mobile application or a website, they may be in the process of troubleshooting some router issues. And again, the bot can drive that personalization and identify that. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I'm having some problems with that. And here's where we can leverage natural language. You heard that with the voice bot, how we take an input from the customer, exactly what they're saying, identify what that use case is, and then perhaps provide a specific response back based on how we train the bot. And that similar process is used across digital channels here, leveraging the Einstein bot. So I can say something like, I'm getting error code. And then from here, the bot can actually identify this specific error code based on some natural language and utterances we've trained the model on. Perhaps try to provide some troubleshooting steps back to the customer here to try to drive, again, that self-service or case deflection. For the purpose of the demo, we'll show perhaps some of the methodologies that we use to try to, again, drive self-service. Perhaps that initial answer wasn't as effective or helpful as we needed it to be. We can start to use some fallback strategies and start to leverage perhaps knowledge articles and content across the support community. Here's an example of how we use one of our NeuraFlash products called the NeuraFlash UI UX Enhancer. And here is an example of one of the visual components we have around mini cards. So this is a great way we can kind of consolidate a large responsive text into a more consolidated format visually. And you'll see here, these actually provide links to knowledge articles. So it can be used not only to provide some of that self-service conversationally, but then also help the customer navigate or search through the site exactly what they're looking for. You can also see our UI UX Enhancer also gives us the ability to start embedding other visual components like videos, so we can actually bring that experience right within chat. Again, try to consolidate exactly what they're looking for. We see incredible results with customers when we're able to provide enough content right within chat and then kind of minimize exactly the areas they need to navigate to. Now we'll say for the purposes of this demo, we provided perhaps enough content for the customer's self-service. Maybe they, again, need some additional questions answered. So I'll say, I have some additional questions. And you can see here, again, we can train the bot on how to perhaps identify those key areas of that conversation where we need to get this over to an agent. So similarly to as you saw with Service Cloud Voice, we can also escalate the conversations in real time right through Omnichannel, route them based on the skills and availability of that agent. This could be an agent that is also working or is assigned to the voice channel as well. So again, we can have a true blended agent with the experience here. And you'll notice we can have a screen pop of the exact information that we've collected from the bot, pop the contact information, automatically create that case and start pre-filling it with some of that information we've collected during the interaction to drive that average handle time. And then similarly, you'll see here on the left, we have that full bot transcript before it was escalated. And again, now this agent can kind of go through, read through this initial transcript, gain an understanding of exactly where this customer is getting lost in the process, and then provide additional support from there. Notice from a customer experience, they're contained right within the same chat window, so there's no need to have them switch channels or kind of navigate across, and they're provided a great experience as they're continuing to leverage the community. They can interact with this agent and ask additional questions from there. Now, across all these channels and these experiences, one of the most powerful capabilities is from a supervisor perspective. So let me hop in and show you some of the capabilities we now have from OmniSupervisor. You'll see here, this is the agent I was acting on behalf of for both the demonstration kind of journeys that we showed. And you'll see here now we have, again, that true notion of a blended agent across channels. So you can see this agent is staffed across the voice channel and chat. We can understand in real time what their capacity and workload is across. And we can also start to monitor their performance across all their channels, exactly what's occurring for each and every interaction they have with the customer. For example, from a Service Cloud Voice perspective, we can actually monitor that real-time voice-to-text transcription here, and even start to perhaps provide some coaching or guidance back to the agent. And we can actually operate off of a similar workflow, perhaps, for that agent in chat to really see in real time their performance and how they're operating as well. And to sum everything up, we've here in NeuraFlash, we've created a set of analytics, as Randy mentioned, to really dive into some of the KPIs, start measuring performance, and really identifying areas to optimize and improve. What we find is best practice as well is having the right KPIs is very important, but then also having the right tools to actually identify root causes and establish actionable plans to move forward with any improvements is also just as important. So you'll see here, this is an example of a Service Cloud Voice dashboard with some basic KPIs around call volume, average handle time, first-time response rates. The real power of the platform that you see here, though, is that we have a native data set for all of our voice metrics. So as opposed to having to tie in from a third-party telephony solution, existing reporting that they may have back into Salesforce, we have that native data model that we have now within Salesforce to now effectively report on the voice channel. And as I mentioned, with these types of tools, we can also start to drill down or filter into specific metrics. So you'll see here, I'm actually filtering by a specific case type or a disposition. And we can see how all the reports and dashboards dynamically surface some insights to be able to drive some action across. As we saw with any of the conversational automation that we saw either with Service Cloud Voice or with the Einstein bots on web chat, we can also start to aggregate all those experiences within this chatbot performance analytics dashboard. This is what we refer to as our NeuraFlash Insights package. So it really takes analytics to another level here. We again can start to track some of the high-level KPIs about interactions and engagement, but then also start to take a closer look at some of the KPIs around case deflection rates to see how effective the bot content and responses are to help customers self-service. And then also, as we saw, as that bot passes conversations to our team of experts, how effective is it at reducing average handle time and providing enough context to drive those workflows there? And you'll see here again with that native data set, we can start to track the performance of these interactions and automation over time with some trend lines. And we can get even more granular with specific bot trends and use cases to identify perhaps how effective these are over time. As with any of the vignettes or the use cases that we show with the technology today, it's certainly a journey. So it's not something that necessarily goes live and is ready to go over the course of the product lifecycle. It's really about looking at the analytics, identifying some trends where it's doing well, where it's not, and continuing to identify areas to optimize and fine tune the performance of this. And lastly, this is a contact center dashboard that really consolidates the experiences that we showed across those different journeys there. So whether it's pulling information from Service Cloud Voice or aggregating the data from chat and Einstein bot experiences, we can now see in detail exactly what our case management strategy looks like across the team on a day-to-day basis, understand in real time what the case volume looks like, the case types, and then also provide us a level of detail to be able to make some important decisions around resourcing or staffing that we may need to make as well. And with that, I'm going to pass it back over to Randy.
Perfect. Thanks, Eric. So jumping into like how we can help you and what Eric showed you, right? So this is all built on and continuously being iterated on based on our experiences. So to give you guys a little background, we have well over 60 Einstein bot and digital channel customers, which is more than any other Salesforce consulting company in the ecosystem, and then we have 10 products alone on the App Exchange for Einstein bots. In regards to Service Cloud Voice and the solution that Eric showed, so the truth is 25% roughly of that solution is built on Amazon Connect. And I want to call out that we are the only platinum consulting partner that is SDP certified, which is what Amazon makes sure that consulting partners need to be on to ensure successful deployments. So really what that means is working with another company, you would have to work through a third party, and we're really a one turnkey solution for that. And we have product that Eric demoed on Service Cloud as well. So I wanted to jump over to what we call the Mythbusters. So essentially what we're hearing is in the field, I wanted to share with you guys, and we're hearing a lot of fear and uncertainty in making the jump. And we wanted to call some of the myths out to ultimately create more comfort. So some of the calls that we hear is this is going to take too long. So you'll see in the customer story I share in the next slide, we set up a 1,200 seat call center, soup to nuts in 5 weeks. The next, and I'll just cover it with the Remitly slide too. But the next is this solution expensive? We have customers, and this Remitly being an example of it, that have saved 20% alone on just licensing and telephony costs. So very price competitive in the ecosystem. Another question that came up from Remitly and customers is, are we gonna have to buy a bunch of hardware? No, this is all a cloud-based solution, and there's no need for hardware. The other one is they thought, do we need specialized skills? The truth is, 75% of this is on Salesforce, 25% is on Amazon, and they're both the largest cloud platform providers in the world. And they have a copious amount of information that will help you go through that. And then on top of that, we will train you throughout our entire project. And the final one, and the question that came up with our customers is this ready for prime time, right? And yes. Our Service Cloud Voice lead, Assad, actually implemented a 50,000 seat call center on these solutions. So it's absolutely ready. So Eric, if you want to go to the summing up on the Remitly side. So to give you guys a background on Remitly, they're a digital money transferring company. So think of West Monroe's and Western Union, sorry. But they were on a solution, NICE in Contact, that really wasn't meeting their need. On top of that, they had a Salesforce presence, and there's really no data communication flowing between NICE in Contact and Salesforce. So, I touched on it briefly. They had about 1,200 contact center employees across 40 different countries. And we started working with them in the middle of July and deployed actually at the end of August. So full solution was achieved in just 5 weeks, which is pretty incredible, given if any of our audience has done this before. In the past, it's been a huge task to transition your contact center. Additionally, they saw increased productivity, and I mentioned the 20% cost savings in licensing and telephony alone. So that finally leads us to how you get started. So the immediate call to action is, if you're interested in this, contact us or contact your Salesforce AE or contact Travis or Elise, and we can take up as immediate next step. Jump on a hour discovery call and fully understand your contact center and your priorities, with the response of providing a personal demo and a proposal and recommendation of where you guys can have some wins. So with that, thank you for joining, and let's get to some QA.
Thanks, Randy, and thanks everyone for such a great session. So we got some great questions, so let's dive into the Q&A. The first question that we have here is said you talked a lot about different products today. Where do you recommend that we get started? Yeah,
so I'll take the first swing at this, and then if someone else wants to go, that's fine. But I would recommend going back to the previous slide. Give us a call, and we will provide a full bunch of questions to understand your current use case, and then provide a recommendation of where to go from this, and we'll provide the quick wins to you. We'll build ROI as well, if that's something that you guys would like for your executives or for the rest of the company. We can provide that. We can provide a bunch of custom requests, but I would say reach out to us, and we can help you.
Thanks, Randy. Our next question here is, how long is a typical Einstein bot project?
Sure, I can take that, and Eric, you can add in some clarity, but I would say depending on complexity and integrations, we see an Einstein bot project spanning anywhere between 6 weeks and 14 to 16 weeks.
Thanks, Randy. Our next question here is, what channels does the Einstein bot support?
I can take one there, Michaela. So the Einstein bot currently supports, as we demoed today, Salesforce chat that can sit on sections of your site or your community. It also supports SMS, Facebook Messenger, and WhatsApp. And actually, as Randy had mentioned, our founding team at NeuraFlash here actually came from Haywire, which was acquired by Salesforce, that brought those digital channels onto the Salesforce platform there. And really our perspective from that is just understanding where the customers tend to interact on today and their channels of choice, and then kind of building out a strategy and a model around how we deploy those channels across.
Thanks, Eric. Our next question is, what are the benefits of Service Cloud Voice?
Sure, I can take this one. So there's a lot of benefits, right? The first one that comes up is all of this information and features all native to the Salesforce platform. Additionally, I'll say the ability to have a true blended agent is now accessible with this technology. So the ability to meet your customers on the channel of their preference seamlessly. So that's another huge win. Another call out I'll make is the voice text feature that Eric showed. So the ability to not only from a call center employee standpoint, understand what our customers are asking and even look back in retrospect, but also as a manager, be able to understand what is happening in my call center, and be able to assist my employees wherever needed, as well as, of course, the data that is going to be populated from all of these touch points being on one source, Salesforce.
Thanks, Randy. The last question for today is, we understand the timeline was quick for Remitly, but what is the timeline if we do not have if we don't have Service Cloud set up today?
I can take that one, and Eric, you can chime in if needed. But I would say it depends. As always, we'll go through and provide a discovery and design. The setup of Service Cloud is really the walk phase, and then setting up Service Cloud Voice is the next phase into the maturity cycle. But I would say it's not a extremely heavy lift to go off on what our question or what our conversation about was before. It could take anywhere between 8 to 12 weeks to set something like that up.
Thanks, Randy, and thanks, everyone. Eric, would you mind going to the next slide? Well, I want to thank everyone so much for joining our webinar today. We know your time is important, and we appreciate you spending it with us. We want to help you. If you're looking to get started on your AI journey, be sure to reach out to us. As Randy said, if you're interested in learning more about how we can help you, please reach out to Randy. His contact information is on this slide here, and I'll be sending out the recording of this as well so that you will have it. I want to thank you again for joining us today, and we're looking forward to talking with you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you.